November 8th, 1990.
Detroit, 70% black, ringed by white suburbs that have been called the most segregated in the country.
Suppose one family moves in. What do you have? Prostitution, drugs, gang fights, gangs moving in. Who needs this?
It's a community aflame with racism, crime, and poverty, run by a mayor accused of throwing fuel on the fire.
Now, who the do you think you are to come in here and cross-examine me?
Brutal, naked aggression.
I have had it.
Hot rhetoric backed up today by another increase in American troops. The cost of going to war with Saddam Hussein, whose life is on the line. Your daughters, your sons.
If George Bush orders American forces to attack Iraq, then God will have to forgive him, because I will not.
I was, very, very frightened. It's a side of Murphy Brown you've never seen. Tonight, we'll show you the nuts and bolts of putting together a top-rated TV sitcom.
You saw them here 2 weeks ago. Members of Congress living it up on Barbados and then billing taxpayers for the tab. Tonight, the fallout from that report and other congressional trips in the works.
From 8AC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam Donaldson in Washington, Chief Correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, Jay Shadler, and Sylvia Chase. This is Prime Time.
Hey, where's the elephant going?
It's okay. I'm sure he'll be back.
Dad, your hair!
This breathtaking moment was brought to you by the Canon E57 camcorder and its brilliant low-light capability.
If this is your idea of a well-rounded breakfast, you should try a wholesome Great Starts breakfast instead. Like whole wheat pancakes and light links, a new breakfast made with a goodness of grains. Great Starts, a real breakfast.
Remember that one? He's a natural. Great timing, Joe.
Hey, that one takes me back.
I love watching my highlights.
Yeah, but what's funny is you're known as a hitter and baseball's greatest all-around player. What I remember is your pitching for Mr. Coffee.
The best I've ever tasted.
Oh, nice every Joe.
You know, back then, Mr. Coffee was the best-selling coffee maker, and it still is today, because it still makes a delicious cup of coffee. Mr. Coffee, still the first choice of coffee lovers.
Prime Time from New York. Here now, Diane Sawyer.
Good evening. Our first story is not a story about a city. It's a story about some Americans who may be sending a kind of warning to the rest of us. A warning about what can happen when bitter polarization takes over the place where you live. In this community, the rich are divided from the poor. The races divided from each other, and it's all compounded by violence and drugs. We're talking about Detroit, once a symbol of U.S. competitive vitality, and some say still a symbol of the future, the first urban domino to fall. And standing at the center of it all, a controversial mayor facing charges that a lot of the blame lies at his feet. Here's Judd Rose.
This is a racist story, or so the mayor of Detroit would have you believe. It's about the city and the mayor, and it's no Valentine, which by his definition makes it a racist story.
To attack Coleman Young, I've become a code word for black. To attack Detroit is to attack black. Politicians run for office by attacking Detroit, by attacking Coleman Young. The media gets headlines.
You're a symbol.
By running bad... Exactly. You got it.
Coleman Young doesn't like criticism, especially from outsiders. But outsiders should take a close look at Detroit and wonder, could it happen here? The truth may hurt, but the truth is, Detroit is burning. Every city has arson fires, but only here is there one angry night like Devil's Night.
Every year on Halloween Eve, while other cities have trick-or-treating and window soaping, Detroit is engulfed in an orgy of arson. It's a holiday tradition. sort of like a mean-spirited Mardi Gras.
We were just sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden there was a burst of flame, and that was it.
John Holton lived here for 31 years. It was gone in minutes. There were hundreds of fires like this during Devil's Night and the days before and after. Firefighters said there were nearly 400, but the city counted less than 300. Not surprising, Devil's Night is just more bad publicity for a city that already has plenty.
This is hell. It's hell here on Devil's Night.
Detroit is armed and dangerous. There are an estimated 1.2 million guns here, more guns than there are people.
This 22 automatic, I keep that one under my pillow with me.
Along with his 22, Art Sims owns a 9mm automatic pistol, an assault rifle, and a sawed-off shotgun. He lives in one of Detroit's better neighborhoods.
5 streets down, you got crack dealers, and you got people breaking in. They come down here, they see nice houses, they see nice things, and they want to break in. So, I got to protect myself from them.
You're prepared to use those?
Yeah, at all times.
Detroit is bleeding. If you're young, black, and male, you're more likely to die by violence than any other cause. Last year, there were 400 children aged 17 or younger who were shot in the city. 40 were shot dead.
Like a whole generation is being wiped out. It's like they just don't care about life. It's nothing to take a life.
Gloria G's son lost his life last April. Police sources think a drug hit team shot him by mistake. Quentin G was 19.
When I visit the cemetery, what can I do is just say to myself, why? Why is he there? He doesn't even know why he's there. He even asked the question, why did anybody want to shoot me?
Are you proud of Detroit?
Certainly I'm proud of Detroit. I wouldn't be here if I were not.
Coleman Young has been the mayor of Detroit for the past 17 years.
Is it a safe place to live, a good place to live, a good place to raise a family?
It's a good place to live, and I think it's as safe as any other. There's not a body on every corner, and the average citizen in this city is not confronted with the fear of his life. So don't bring me that crap about Detroit. We're no different. We have the same problems as any city in America.
Well, it's true. Most big cities do have the same problems as Detroit, and in some cases, they're worse. Washington has more murders, L.A. has more gangs, New York has more racial violence. America's cities are on a dark and dangerous road. But you come here, and you get the feeling that this is what the end of the road looks like. Here in Detroit, we have seen two worlds, one poor and black, one wealthy and white, two worlds with their backs turned to each other. Here in Detroit, we have seen the future, and it's frightening. We spent one night with the sheriff's narcotics squad raiding crack houses.
Down on the ground, now, hands out!
At one, a couple arrived so desperate for drugs, they ignored the police cars in front and came in anyway.
You always that stupid, or you just work at it hard?
At another house, the suspects included a mother of 3, pregnant with her 4th.
We've had families, literally arrested families with a father, mother, sons, cousins, nephews, whatever. We're all involved in the entire operation. I guess they pass on their traits, pass on their craft to the next generation.
You might be troubled by talk like that, especially coming from a cop. But Detroit's cops are overwhelmed by what has become a billion-dollar-a-year business here. In fact, some black community leaders told us that the drug industry is now the biggest employer of young black men in Detroit.
Do you understand your rights?
Crack rules in a city where once cars were king.
Detroit put the world on wheels. In one generation, these and other names created America's #1 industry.
Then the bottom fell out. In the last decade, nearly 1/3 of all auto workers lost their jobs, and blacks were hit hardest. Detroit's unemployment rate is staggering. Infant mortality is twice the national average, and almost 3 times as many Detroiters fall below the poverty line. The mayor will tell you that the reason Detroit's so bleak is because it's so black.
In this country, black people are victims of racism. It's not accidental that the cities around the nation that have the largest percentage of blacks have the largest percentage of poverty, have the largest percentage of crime, have the largest percentage of unemployment.
But in Detroit, blacks aren't just the majority, they're the authority. They run the police, the courts, the schools, and City Hall. But black political power hasn't meant black economic prosperity.
In my time in Detroit, I have driven and walked past mile after mile of decayed, rotting neighborhoods that look like war zones, of burned-out buildings, cracked houses.
If you've been coming any length of time, those were there when I became mayor. And a whole lot of that's been restored.
There are also people that say that any white mayor who had developed the downtown area and let the neighborhoods collapse would have been kicked out of office a long time ago.
Well, that's bull. That's pure propaganda. Neighborhoods collapsed because half the goddamn population left.
In fact, Detroit, which at its peak in the 50s was home to 2 million and 80% white, today has less than 1 million, about 70% of them black. So now, when it's hammer time in the city, it's tea time in the suburbs. This is where whites went, taking their money and jobs with them. There are now more offices here than in Detroit, more stores too, so there's no reason to go to the city. The only thing the suburbs lack are blacks. One study called these among the most segregated suburbs in America. Suburbs created by white